Welcome back. Our next guest is pleading for the U.S. government to help him rescue his family stranded in Afghanistan under Taliban rule.
Working as an interpreter for the U.S. military is considered a great crime for the Taliban. The interpreter and his family are sentenced to death. I, as a former interpreter who worked for the U.S. Army, came through the SIV program and I'm a U.S. citizen now. But my family members are being left behind in Afghanistan, hiding somewhere, and at risk of being slaughtered by the Taliban at any moment. I'm very disappointed by the U.S. government that did not help to evacuate my family and many other people at risk.
Joining us now is former interpreter in the U.S. Army, who is also, as we mentioned, a U.S. citizen, Milat. Fanu, thank you very much for joining us. It is great to have you with us. Can you give us an update on your family? You and I have been speaking a little bit. I know we're trying to get you in touch with some folks who could help. Have you heard anything?
Thanks for having me. Recently, I talked to my father. They're still hiding somewhere in Afghanistan. And my father was very worried, and he was in a very state of fear in asking me if I have found any way to evacuate them, help them to get them out of the country. And I told him I'm doing my best here in the United States. I'm in contact with many organizations. I'm in contact with Heather. She's helping me connecting with private efforts to evacuate my family members from Afghanistan. And it looks like my father is losing hope, and I'm trying to give him hope and told him that there's still hope.
Fanu, how did you get out, and what kind of efforts has your family made, and what have they run into in trying to get out of there?
Sure. I have reached out to my representatives here in the state of Texas with senators, and I have explained the situation that my family is currently. And I have received a response from one of the representatives. The representative office said that they have reached out to Department of State, trying to see what they can do on their part. And with the private efforts, I'm in contact with many of them. They have got my family's information, all the information they need. And it looks like my family is currently on the list, and just when the time comes, they will help.
You know, we keep hearing, Fanu, about, promises made to folks like you, especially interpreters who have been in harm's way, put their lives on the line along with our troops. What type of promises were made to you to get your family and you out of situations like what's going on in Afghanistan? And have you heard from the State Department at all?
The promises that I have heard were through the social media and the TV that I watch every day, that the United States government is doing their best to keep our families safe and get them out in a safe place. But I haven't heard back anything from the U.S. government, from the State Department, anything on my family, anything yet.
Do you know what kind of experience they have over there right now? Are they being harassed by the Taliban? Do they have friends who are being harassed? What is their physical situation?
Sure. The second day when the Taliban took over the country, when they took over Kabul city, they started going door to door in our area, searching for people who work for the foreign countries, especially the United States. And they were looking for those people and trying to slaughter them. But my father did a smart move about it, and immediately took my family out of the house. And they went to somewhere which is hidden, and no one knows where they are at currently. And my father also has been receiving multiple phone calls from the Taliban group, the Taliban terrorist group, threatening the whole family to death. But currently they're living somewhere where no one has the address or the location.
Yeah, it is just I mean, perhaps not surprising, but shocking that you, as an interpreter for the United States military, have not heard back from the State Department when we hear the State Department repeatedly say that they're trying to get folks like you and your family, out of harm's way. Thankfully, you are here in the United States, but we hope to get them here as well. I do want to jump down to this because former U.S. Army serviceman Corey Mills is one of those folks who's been helping to assist getting families out. And he was on earlier with our John Bachman talking about what we heard about today as breaking news, a family being able to get out of Afghanistan by walking out across the border. Listen.
This family here is a mother and 3 children. She was over there in Afghanistan, made multiple attempts to get out of the country utilizing the State Department and other methods. When that failed and I continued to organize and track with her, that's when I made the decision that we had to get her out of Kabul as they were already starting to search for her and her family. Her children speak no Pashto or Dari. They're all American, born and raised there in Texas, and they were literally being hunted there in Kabul. It was at that stage that we completed the very first and successful ground evacuation out of Afghanistan for Americans. I won't go into any details as I don't want to compromise the ongoing missions because we are still getting Americans out.
Yeah, so still getting people out. Fanu, how does it make you feel when you hear about efforts that have to happen like that at this point because of the way we withdrew?
Yes, the private efforts still give some hope to my family, to myself, that there are still people who care about the allies, about the citizens, about the green card holders, and trying to save their lives and to evacuate them from Afghanistan, which is a danger and a war zone right now. And I'm very disappointed. Very disappointed on the United States government, Department of State, that they withdraw from Afghanistan before they evacuate the citizens, the allies, and their family members who are at really risk.
How long did you work with the American troops as an interpreter?
I worked for more than 2.5 years, from 2012 to 2014.
Was your life at risk?
Yes, it was.
We appreciate your service. We hope that somebody's able to help you get your family out of there. Thank you so much, Fanu, for being with us.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
Fanu
you.
Milat.